Episode 22 here of this one-hole tutorial designer series. In the last episode, it was a short episode. All we did was go through and show how to make hills in your fairway so that the golfer isn't always hitting from a flat lie. It looks more realistic and really raises the difficulty too, in a very subtle way. In this episode, we're going to be looking at green sculpting, making a difficult putting surface for all the golfers. So the first thing that you want to keep in mind, and I think this is very important, and honestly it's pretty hard to do, but when you first start your green, you should really think in mind of making sure that you're leaving multiple pin positions in case you're going to do different versions later. The way to test this after you're done designing is to highlight over the green and then switch to place flag. And as soon as you do that, go off the green and come back on. It's going to change where your hole. See how it ends here? If I place, then go off, it's going to show me more information about where I'm at. So make sure that as you're planning this, you kind of decide where you want these holes to be. Another very popular thing to do on greens is a tiered green, a green that has different levels. If you're going to be doing that, I recommend using this brush right here, because if we go through and we raise this, let's say just 8 inches or so, and I drag that across, the lip that you're going to have, because now we have two different levels. We have a top level and a bottom level here. The lip that you're going to have isn't going to be so gradual that it's crazy. When it comes to green sculpting, it's really up to you how difficult or how easy you want to make it. There are some tricks when it comes to green sculpting that you kind of want to try to avoid. Green sculpting, or the green, I think, is where a lot of players end up throwing their controllers and hating your course. Just because I mentioned some of these tricks, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can never do them. I would just make sure that you're not doing all of these tricks on all of your courses. So something very common that people do is they will place the hole right before a lip. So I'll make this more drastic here. I'm not going to save any of this. I'll do some stuff off screen, but is raising it really big so that you have the hole right next to this giant drop off, so that if someone putts and they go just a little bit far, they'll end up rolling all the way down. Again, this is something that you can do. I would just avoid doing it entirely too much. Be very mindful about where you're placing your flag. Sorry, just trying to delete what I did there. Okay. So make sure you're avoiding doing that. Another thing that I would avoid is too many double slopes. So as they're going to the hole, it really should only be curving one way. When you have a lie to your hole, you should never have it breaking one way, breaking another way, and then breaking a third way. I mean, it certainly can happen. Just try to avoid it as much as possible. Finally, the last thing about green sculpting that I do want to admit is that you should be testing these from all over. You should be testing on the green quite a lot. An easy way to test, another thing I use the distance tool for, is to draw a line to the cup from all points of your green. This way you can kind of see what a putt from any line will look like. I'm just going to do 3 here for you guys, but you can get down on level and you can kind of see what a putt's going to look like from most angles on your green. That way you can kind of figure out whether or not it's too easy, too difficult, exactly what you want. It's really up to you. I do recommend doing that, though. I think that's about it. The final piece of advice that I am going to use for you, that I'm going to give you if you're not going to if you're not going to use a tiered green, is to again use these soft circle brushes. They're going to create the most gradual hills for you. You can make them as tall or small as you want them to be, but these are going to be very gradual hills that aren't too much, and you can always kind of mess with them if you want to. But That's what I would recommend using, is those soft circle brushes. They're not going to drive anybody too crazy. So um, I think that's it. Off air, I'm going to do my own green and see what I want. So make sure you're keeping in mind that you're going to have multiple pin positions. Don't make it too crazy, and use those soft circle brushes. So till next video.